The government should stop being the single largest employer, the single largest person who is giving tenders. We need the private sector to thrive so that more opportunities, innovation, efficiency comes through.
Hey there, and welcome to Fanya, Mambo, Africa, another exciting episode. And this one I'm actually super excited because every time I have a lady with me and one who is very active on the political space or on the, civic space, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed so much because I always want to have more people, get the fear off and move to the spaces where decisions are made. I have none other than Justina Wamae. Karibu sana Alfa House.
Asante Sarah.
Umekuwa wapi?
Nilikuwa nalea katoto.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How is he?
Yeah, he's not 1 year old. That's a big baby now.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
That's why you're making a comeback.
Yes.
Wow.
Say anaweza achwa. So now that voter is done.
That's a voter.
That's a voter. Yes.
How would you say parenting has been? I mean, if it's 1 year, that means it's in the 1 year that we've had a lot of politics going on.
It's been one disappointing. When I went to go to hospital, I was expecting the free diapers. Women had been promised that I didn't see, or maybe the channels were not correct on how women are getting those diapers. Something else is during the time my son was a month, I was given a job during the Gen Z's unrest. And then my mom's friends would call her and tell her, why tell her not to take that job. Gen Z's are saying what I'm salimia. They're going to burn her house. So it got me thinking sometimes things happen, you're not even in the middle of it, and then they find you because you see, I had asked for a job prior when this government administration got into power. But for this one, it was a surprise. But it showed me that government is giving solutions that are not up to date. Those are old styles of doing things. Because when Gen Zs were making noise, what made them think giving people jobs will solve the problem? At this point, even if Akikuyu is given a job, Kenyans are like, okay, that's the salary for him and his family or her and her family. What about me? How am I engaged? So that's the time I realized government is out of touch with what really Kenyans want. Yes.
And in the 2022 election, you were a running mate to Professor Wajakoya, now Professor, I saw that. When you look at what government is doing, and if you two got in power, how different would your administration be?
It would be different because we had a pragmatic solution. Let us grow hemp, industrial hemp. So probably people would be engaged now. If really we worked on it, people would be engaged. But now that I've done some rebranding as a champion for economic democracy, I have realized that the problem we're facing right now is our factors of production. Our economy is not sustaining creation of more opportunities. Yes, we have many people transitioning from university, people graduating, people have skills, but they are not getting absorbed or participating in nation building. So the problem now is, if government would listen, is to order the disorder in our factors of production, allow businesses to thrive, not them telling us that we have 420 new companies. They shouldn't tell us. We should feel it, when your friend gets a job, when your friend gets a tender to do events in a company, when advertising opportunity comes up, then that is when we feel really these 420 companies have come. But it's not about government telling us. So the difference would be going future, or should be going future in future, is to order the disorder in our factors of production so that everyone can be able to thrive in their own space without even dictating that, Sarah, you come for a white collar job. No, Sarah, if you feel that something else beyond a podcast will work for you, then you thrive there because the factors of production are allowing you to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
It's interesting that you've mentioned 420 companies.
Yes.
Is it by coincidence or is it because you still have the vision for the industrial hemp? And by the way, do you still believe that it should be legalized?
The 420, so it was a government hashtag that was trending in the morning. So even I asked myself, are they smoking weed? Because 420 and weed, I think they are smoking weed because we are not feeling the 420 companies. And do I still have the vision? Probably it will come to the factor of production, materials, raw materials. if private sector in manufacturing feel that industrial hemp is going to lower their lead time in terms of production, then why not? But so this time the approach is not me driving it, but if private sector says that, then we can do the regulation, the legislation. But if they feel it's important. So the difference is I won't push it to them. It's for them to say whether they need it.
And if society perhaps also demands.
Yeah, then we can do the legislation, because I feel at this point government should just focus on legislation, regulation, and tax policies. Government should stop being the single largest employer, the single largest person who is giving tenders. We need the private sector to thrive so that more opportunities, innovation, efficiency comes through. When things are done by government, they don't do it for cost saving or efficiency. They do it just for delivery or sharing the national cake, which I have a problem with. Who told us we have a cake? We've not focused on even how do we even have a cake? Should we have a cake now? We should think about cooking ugali that is relating to Kenyans. So those are the things that I feel that we are still stuck in the 60s, and at 62 years old, we need to know how we're going to thrive, not survive, thrive the next 62 years.
Yeah, because I feel a lot of people, generally, even Kenya in general, I think we are surviving. And it's evident. You don't need to ask a lot. But when you look at it from a very critical point of view, now you call yourself a champion for
economic democracy.
Economic democracy.
Yeah.
What's that about?
It's about bringing in economic conversations in our politics. What we usually talk about in this country is it's about sharing the national cake. Let every tribe be consulted. Let them be part of the national cake. So when tribe is there, and then it is not enough to say that we're having 10 Luos, 10 Kikuyus there. What are these people doing? It's beyond the role. It's about the impact. Something else I've noticed is that the issue again of the national cake. In everyone's mind, we imagine there's a cake somewhere, but we don't go back to how was it baked, what are the ingredients. So we need to focus more on creating wealth. When leaders, people who are sitting in positions of influencing and shaping policies, they should not be discussing more about, let's give budget to the president to move around, let's give this for spending. They should be telling us, how are we creating the money for this? So we need to shift from spenders to wealth creators. So that is why I felt there was a gap in our politics. We are lacking the economic conversation. And that is really the problem that is affecting us. When you see Gen Zs going out there, the fundamental problem they're highlighting is lack of opportunities, which comes with money. Then you also see our relationship with money. I think we touch money when you're too old in life, right? So we don't know how to handle our money, because even our political policies do not highlight how a 16-year-old can work in a hotel, and the way we see them working out there, they buy their own cars. Our relationship with money, you start touching money at 30, 40, and as it is now, they are saying unemployment rate is at 60%. It means you can even get to 60 years without getting a job, how I interpret it. So I felt we need to bring those economic conversations into our politics so that people start seeing really now is beyond spending. We need to focus on creating now wealth. Yes.
Now, when we speak about economic policies,
Yes.
and then these are things we see every day. I mean, nowadays you do not have to look really far to look for these economic factors.
Yes.
Just the other day, there was an issue that State House spent some billions just for local travel for of course, president and everyone else internally. There was the issue of having a 1.2 billion construction of a church in State House. When you look at those economic factors, then where is the gap between the president understanding what is this economy that these people are speaking about vis-a-vis the economy he's speaking about? Because we seem to be reading from different scripts.
I think the problem lies in the president has not yet understood his role. He's leading a generation that has more information, vision-oriented. They're focusing maybe on the next 60 years. The president sitting there as president, he's seeing gaps that are not his role. How is it his role to build a church? Another thing I always question is, he has won the seat. What is this thing he has to go around traveling? And that is where he's lost it. And I think he failed even in what Robert Greene calls rule number 4. Rule number 4 says that you need to talk less than necessary, let people start questioning or leave some mystery. Rule number 16 also says that give us some scarcity so that you're not taken for granted. So every time he's seen traveling, people are even bored with him. How I wish we went back to Akibaki season, Uhuru season 2. There's a time we missed him in action and everyone was saying, hey, where is the president? So when he comes on TV, you're curious to know what he has to tell the nation. So the president really doesn't understand his role, and that is why he's doing things outside his scope. His major role at this point was even implementing his bottom-up economic proposal. Because remember, Kenyans were saying, when he really was campaigning, and he sold Kenyans to the bottom-up economic model. That is where his focus should be, so that people can feel this bottom-up. So it's like he abandoned bottom-up, and now he's doing things that are not in line with that bottom-up.
If you were the president today, holding all factors constant and working with Kenya as it is, how would you transform this country?
3 things, and we can't do all of them at the same time. And it's not about one presidency. Where we are headed, we need more time. But the deliverables should be: 1, ordering the disorders in our factors of production. All 4 of them, labor, entrepreneurship, raw materials, and capital. Those one we have to order the disorder, because even it doesn't make sense that you have land and then an MCA is coming to steal this land from you. So what the gap is that even land ownership is a problem. Maybe these are things that put people off. You want to invest in Kenya, but you're not sure how your title deed will make sense for you. It might be stolen from you. You might be told this is your land. So we really need to order the disorders in those things. Something else I've picked up: how we finance Article 43, healthcare, education, social protection. Is it sustainable for us in the next 60 years? I think we need to go beyond Kenyans saying, no, we pay taxes, because I feel Kenyans don't respect our public amenities, because we don't feel that tax. Probably people would own in terms of, we've privatized a section of Article 43. People have bought shares, privatized, owned by Kenyans. I do not support other Adani people coming around here. Let Kenyans be involved. Have Kenyans been asked, do you want to buy shares? When Safaricom was privatized, Kenyans bought shares. They had the money. So allowing Kenyans to also own a stake of Article 43. Number 3, ordering the disorder in how we finance counties. This issue of counties telling us, we are waiting for money from National Assembly. From where? If the relationship between National Assembly and County Assembly should be National Assembly funds a major project in a county, then counties start making money off them. That one will challenge Kenyans to vote for governors who have something between their ears, governors who are creative, governors who know that we can create wealth in this way. When we do that, everyone will pull their weight towards nation building. Everyone will put their money towards nation building because they're making profits. So I feel those 3 things are the most important thing. And all this takes us to a data-driven economy. That when we sit back and the National Bureau of Statistics does their thing, they tell us we have a gap in doctors, we have a gap in these professionals. So we gear our training towards that. Unfortunately, now we are not trained to fit the economy, meaning our education does not relate to economy. That's why you see people saying, usitumie akili ya shule kutafuta pesa. So it means our education is irrelevant in our economy, yet it's supposed to be the fundamental bit as a driver of economy. So those are the 3 things that we need to order the disorder in.
When you speak about having not the National Assembly funding these people, like counties, technically I don't think they actually even fund, because what they work with is the budget proposals.
National government funding, yes.
So then what will be because we pay, you said we make noise about paying taxes.
Yes.
We pay taxes. Then what will happen with this financing of this tax that we pay? Because if we do not have a fixed system where if I go to hospital I can get a service and yet I am still being taxed. Today I saw that high schools might close early because there's no exam money and capitation. So when you see such gaps, does it even have to take National Assembly? Isn't it because I'm sure they passed that money. The delivery is what is lacking, perhaps.
When you listen to the government, people in national government or maybe the president, he's always arguing, no, we are repaying the debt. And when you look at now, for every 10 shillings, 7 shillings goes to debt repayment.
Yes.
So at some point, it will get difficult for national government sending the 35%. I think they do 35 to county assemblies. So that's why I was saying we need to start funding income generating projects so that this money doesn't just go into paying salaries in counties. When you look at even what does this money really do? It goes to paying salaries, salary backlogs. So how does it build a county? And then we end up having
development.
Yes. So even in the budget, 70% goes into recurrent. Then even the 30% that is meant to go to development is not there. So I feel that when a tangible project, like in Nairobi, if a proposal of what the county would write a proposal, no, National Assembly, our money fund the garbage, where they collect garbage and generate electricity. That would be an income generating project for Nairobi County. So how they manage it, how they make profits, that's on them. But at least they're making money to run their own county, as opposed to expecting that every year when national government collects taxes, they're going to be given money, then they end up paying salaries. So I feel we are not funding development, we are funding recurrent. So how do we fund recurrent without hurting development? Have a income generating project in that county. That's the argument I see.
Does that then mean we have the wrong people as governors? Because I believe, I remember when Kivutha Kibwana was the governor in Makueni,
yes.
He established a factory, I think it was mangoes and something,
yes,
which was supposed to generate income. I haven't followed to see what is happening. But then again, does it have to take the National Assembly to tell the 47, you need to come up with something?
No. What it takes should be the voters. The voters should vote in the right people. But what is affecting our country, Sarah, is the fact that the only thriving sector is politics, as it is. So whether you're in whether in construction, whatever sector you are in, if you're failing there, then people think, let me get into politics. At least I'll continue earning a large salary without realizing what is your role. So many of these people who go into those positions as governors and senators, all those people, I feel they're just there for survival and self-preservation. They're not there to add value in terms of leadership and taking this country forward. Then they are there because they are going to earn a large salary. And that's why I'm saying it goes back to the voters. This behavior of, when you see Justina there, you don't want to hear what Justina is saying. You just want them to give you the handouts. Then we end up electing people whose interest is just want to protect their business interest to someone who the husband has a lot of money, so they're funding their wife just to be a woman rep. So what is their motivation being there? It's not public service, it's self-preservation. So the person to blame is the voter, because they never put these people to task by asking them, so where are you taking us? Again, I feel media should, and you're doing a good job, highlighting visions and conversations that are away from what we are used to. Now let's focus on, yes, you're saying you're in opposition, but we don't want an opposition. We want an alternative. The alternative, give us solutions. Not people saying we want transformation. Always ask the question, how? So that even the voters at home start adapting that there is a how. We need to be given the how answer.
Okay.
Yes.
When you look at Gen Zs, of course, last year there were protests. This year, again, there were protests. And this, of course, it's a conversation towards economic empowerment and just economic transformation. When you look at that and the ideas that you're proposing, then do you think the political class understands?
One, I believe they understand, but they do not want us to thrive. Because explain to me why when President Ruto was campaigning, he had those economic forums, and you'd see him sitting there with a notebook writing all those issues people are saying. So clearly, one, he understands the problem. Either it is out of not wanting Kenyans to be independent financially. That is why they want us to always say, oh, alitusaidia sana, alikuja mazishi, because when you ask a question, Kenyan, why are you voting for this one? Anakujanga mazishi, anatupeanga handouts, they give us beans. Then you forget, what is the role of this person? Is it those things? The role of these elected and appointed politicians who are there is to shape and influence policies and legislations that make life easier for you. You can even buy your own beans when the economy is working.
Yeah.
You can even bury your own dead. You can afford without being given handouts. But I feel they want to make us continue getting handouts from them so that we don't open our eyes. So we are stuck with, they're giving us. How about we say, no, we have our own hands, we can work for ourselves. You just give us a conducive environment to work. So I know they know the problem, but they still want us to be without the power, the economic empowerment. They don't want us to be empowered.
And when you say that, and then you see every weekend, I mean, this is something that has been going on. We've seen the deputy president, Kindiki, almost every weekend moving around, doing what they're calling economic empowerment, where they donate monies to youth groups, women groups, and all that. When you look at that, then how do I even put it? What is the mission for this? What's the vision? Is it even sustainable? And is it worth it?
One, it's not sustainable. Two, it just goes back to they want us to continue receiving handouts. They make Kenyans come sit there, you waste your whole day. If you're really into empowering Kenyans, can you create markets for what they grow in the market, in their shambas, that may have my maize, I'm selling them, I'm making a profit. That is real empowerment. But this one giving us things is not helping because it's not sustainable. Will you give me next year? So the idea of economic empowerment in Kenya by those in authority is skewed. Then they just want to control us around their giving us stuff. I wish they allowed even the interest rates. If they lower the interest rates for the banks, someone would take their own loan. You buy your own piki instead of being given. There is where they lose the plot. And then they want to be seen on the ground, be seen on TV that they're on the ground, because the purpose of it all is not empowerment. It's just to be seen to liquor ground. And then how is it helping? So them, they should know that if they really want to be effective, government should focus on legislation, they should focus on regulation, they should focus on making private sector thrive. So that even if there's one company for motorbikes, let them be 10, demand and supply. The one who sells cheaper has more customers. If it's about fuel, why can't we even focus on the Talo, what Talo had in Gamiawan, though they left? Why didn't we invest in that with all this money the government is taking as loans? So that they make the factors of production conducive for the economy to grow, for Kenyans to be able to do it themselves instead of giving handouts. So the idea of economic empowerment is skewed.
Sometimes I wonder, because we talk about all these things, and sometimes I'm like, are politicians like serious sometimes? Because it looks like it's a very straightforward thing where you would do, like if you became president, this is the ABC of how to fix the country. Then people get there and it becomes like a million times harder. The youth, of course, of this country have become very angry with all of these factors. And so as a result, we end up on the streets. And then when we end up on the streets, then the police and goons are weaponized against young people. So first, what do you think about that political hooliganism? And then what's next?
The government, if they're the ones behind the goons, though they're saying they're not the ones behind, but if they are, they're employing tactics.
Do you believe them?
I feel they're the ones who are bringing goons, because if they just let Gen Zs demonstrate peacefully, maybe they're scared there's a statement that will be sent out. It's going to be peaceful, it's going to make sense, and it's going to attract more people. Now other generations are willing to close shop and come join this peaceful demonstration. So what do? They instill fears by bringing goons. So I think it's a government-driven problem. But what I feel is the biggest problem that limits people when they sit here and they're seeking votes. Sarah, people have ideas. But when you're maybe elected into National Assembly, you go meet someone who says, I've been a ranking member for the last 25 years. What are you telling me? I feel it's a case of you are in Form 1 and then this Form 4 is trying to show you that there's nothing you're doing. So that bullying makes you feel discouraged, one. Other thing is something Gloria Robber mentioned, that the standing orders are also not conducive for you if you're a newcomer, because if you have a policy, a legislative proposal, I don't know, it goes to House Business Committee, they are those ones who determine what goes where. So it limits you from wanting to influence legislations that make it easier for you. And that's why I think we need to also question Parliament. These things, they say standing orders, it's a colonial practice. is it really working for us now? If Kenyans, we are used to, oh, it's not a must that I respect the age. I mean, is it a must that I leave my seat for a granny who entered a matatu when it was full? This time, at our age, people are comfortable asking this granny, sure, you saw the mat was full. Why did you enter? So I think that is the approach you also need in parliament, because it's not necessarily that you've been a ranking member for 25 years and your ideas are making sense. If they did make sense, then they would be influencing legislations that make life easier for us. So within those 25 years, we would have seen impact. So I feel even the integrity of parliament, one, we are told they are controlled by the executive. Two, their traditions and ways and standing orders, they limit you from influencing the legislations. That's what I feel, especially the newcomers, because sometimes even people say, oh, they don't speak in parliament, but there's a rule. I think the question time, I think the older guys are given more time than this younger one. So when will they be able to articulate issues? So I think there's also a problem in even those standing orders.
I don't know if they're actually, I think they can be edited, updated, but of course it has to take the same parliament.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, they're the lawmakers.
So we need maybe younger generation who are seeing that now we are here, God willing, the next 60 will be here. Because this one's, if you're over 60, then national attrition checks in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So back to the question of weaponizing also the police against the people.
I also blame it on the fact that the economy is not working. Sarah, if I become president today, I will go get people from my village to join the police force. Because people will say, how are you helping us? So the only way to help my people is getting them into the police force. Whether it is your vision, it is your motivation to be a policeman, you don't focus on that. So we throw out meritocracy. So me, I just bring people from my village, they join the police force. When there's an issue of demonstrations, these people I brought from my village are loyal to me. So they're going to be beating these other Kenyans as if, with so much ubaya, because they're a threat to the person who got them there. So I feel when the economy is working in all sectors, Sarah, it's not a must for me to be a policewoman because my uncle is a president. I'll have the option. I feel like I want to be a musician. Let it be a full-time job for me. As opposed to, I'm told, just join the police force. You'll be earning a salary. You can take loans. It is not my motivation. So one, in as much as we want the police to be professional, we should remember how they got there. Some of them, they have the godfather. They have to please the godfather. Something else is that I feel junior officers, the fact that you're forced to follow orders. Look at he's called Kingsley, the guy who shot...
Cleansy.
Yeah, the one who shot Boniface Karaoke. When he was doing that video that I'm very ready for Tuesday, he looked charged up. So what was his motivation for shooting? And then maybe it was the orders he had been given. But when you saw him last week in court, he was alone. So I feel also the junior officers need how do I put it? Not a welfare, a union, something that protects them. That even if you're given an order, you have the latitude to think, is it within the law or not? As opposed to just accepting. Remember even the one at the OCS, the police, Mwana, during Albert's case, he says he was given orders by the OCS. So does he have the latitude to say, no, boss, I can't do this, without feeling victimized, or he's not obeying orders? So even the police, the junior officers need to be protected in a union kind of way, so that if you feel you're not comfortable, you can say, I'm not comfortable. Actually, funny enough, one of my neighbors is a policeman, and I think he's junior. So I saw him, I asked him, you didn't go to Mandamano? He told me, no, I had to call in work sick. For him, it's safer to lie he's sick than going to work, because he's afraid of being given an order. And then he messes up, and then he ends up being in trouble alone. So we need also a safe space for our police, so they're able to do that which is right within the law.
When you talk of a safe space, and the president the other day said he will protect them, the CS Interior said he will protect them. The MP for Belgut and the chair of defense just said the other day, the president was saying shoot on the foot. In fact, I'm saying shoot to kill. And that is a member of parliament. When you see such things happening, where are we?
One thing I want every policeman to remember is the guy, Baraza guy, the guy who shot Boniface. We saw him alone. There was no one, apart from his family, I think his parents were there, but there was no one to protect him I'm the one who gave these orders. No one was there to protect Mwana because of Albert's case. So that is where I'm saying when the president got into power, the first executive order was to give police their own independent budget. And when he was doing that, I think his vision was, instead of always telling the police, do this so that I give you money, the purpose was they have their own money, they run their operations. So if the president was genuine about in the independence of the police service, then he shouldn't really interfere with their tactical and operational way of doing things. Let them just follow the procedures that they follow during protest, during demonstrations. But for a policeman who is told that, oh, the president said, and then when you're in court, where are they? Where are their lawyers? How are they there to protect you? Is it possible for you to use it in court that, no, the president said? No, it's not. And
Never
that's
happening.
And that's how I feel they need a union that protects junior police officers. That is what I feel. And they also need a representative in where police sit to say, us as junior officers, you're not comfortable. And it's an argument that I also argue that political parties also need. When you're joining a political party, instead of being forced or vote according to the political parties, there are things, Sarah, you can say, I don't support abortion if that political party supports, and they respect your stand. So I think even the police should be given that latitude to say, no, I feel it's not within the constitutional mandate to do this.
But above all, even for me, it's just let them follow the law.
Yes.
I think if you follow the law.
But remember now the other issue is your bosses. So how are you protected from this boss who is forcing you to do things that are not within the law?
I mean, shooting demonstrators, that I can defend myself by all means as a police, I want to imagine.
Then you'll be victimized and you're taken to Turkana, Baragoi.
Okay, what is worse?
Going to Baragoi. It's better. This other policeman, what's his name? Hiram. He was saying that he was afraid of going there. He might be killed along the way.
There was
the case of also Samido. I don't know how true it was. So that's why I'm saying junior officers should have a welfare union that protects their interest. It's very important for them to have that, so that it's the union protecting. Other than that, you are the one who is refusing, Sarah is refusing. It's, no, our union does not allow this. I think it has more voice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. When we see now, like the Nelson Koech speaking that shoot to kill, and that's a member of parliament, as the citizens, general citizens, what are we to do?
One, I think first he needs his blood pressure checked. That day he looked like his pressure was up. I don't know why he was stressed out like that, which is not healthy. The bitterness is not healthy. But as citizens, I think it goes to us questioning, these people we vote for, what is their temperament? So you're in power. You do what you want. Why are you forgetting that maybe next time you'll not be in power? And how do you want to be treated? And that is now the problem we always face with our elected and appointed politicians. If it's even healthcare policies, they don't imagine a day for them away from power or the benefits of those things. If really SHA was working, it's something for you're the president, you go into a Kenyan hospital and you're treated by SHA. But then they see themselves, they detach themselves from the reality. But I want them for them to be grounded, they should also always think that one day I'll never be here. So will I be able to survive in this environment that I created through legislations and policies? So for him, he's making it look like he'll always be in power. But really, he should look at life when he's not in power. How would he want the citizens to be treated when he's an ordinary citizen? Yes.
And the other thing they've been really driving is that the whole idea of Gen Z wanting change is because we are being funded, and there's a lot of tribal kings who do not want the president for some reason. Why is it hard for them to understand we are past this tribal conversation? Like that ship sailed.
There is a theory in economic democracy that says politicians always maximize on votes. So they want to say anything just to maximize on their votes. But citizens should maximize on utility. Utility is the benefit you get by having Justina there. So when they're saying that, they want to maximize or galvanize the votes of the people who are their tribe, who are from their region, trying to show them that, no, our presidency is being threatened by these entitled people. So when they do that, they stir up emotions and people are not complaining. But that's a smoke screen. They're supposed to understand that when you listen to every ordinary Kenyan, like now everyone is complaining that the fuel prices have gone up by around 9 shillings. Those are the fundamental economic issues that are affecting the country. But for them, they want to hear, they don't want to hear the economic issues. They want to hear, no, these Gen Zs are being funded by Ford Foundation. They want a boogeyman for every issue, instead of confronting the problem. And I think they're losing the opportunity to get feedback. How I wish they were listening. Getting feedback is very important, because maybe you've set out on the bottom-up economic model. That feedback would be telling them, no, it's not working up as of now. So they can find a different strategy. But they're losing that opportunity by saying it's a tribal issue. One thing they should realize, as of now, information flow, people go to schools, all tribes are in the same class. Yani, it's beyond telling me that my neighbor is bad. People realize we do it for politicians. 207 people lost properties. They have never been compensated. People lost lives. So Kenyans have known that when we fight, we never get a solution. For us, all we want is economic democracy. We just want to be able to participate in nation building, make our own money, be comfortable, without politicians saying that it is so and so.
The person who has decided they're coming out just to try and understand or maybe be a bridge is Raila Odinga. Just the other day he said we need to form a conclave that will have the young people, the politicians, blah, 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 on the table. And I don't know where he's going to get those 40 from every county, because the number of people who get to the streets is in hundreds of thousands. And when you listen to people, the Gen Z are saying, Raila Odinga, you've had enough handshakes. We don't want any more of your leadership.
Well, I think it goes to it's a generational issue. And I respect
Maybe that's why he said it needs to be intergenerational conversation.
I think I respect the older generation. They got us here. That I respect. But I feel they need to now let we, the younger generation, take this country forward. Because the answer, what he's giving us, if it was in 1990, it would make a lot of sense. But now it's beyond that. Remember, even Kenyans are saying, oh, you want us to have this discussion so that you bring your grandchildren and your people. So one, selection would be a problem.
Yes.
Two, I'm always questioning. People voted for Kenya Kwanza because of bottom up. I want to move away from people who did not vote because of Ruto. I want us to be having a conversation, the policies they were pushing, which was a bottom up economic model. Before elections, they would go around saying economic forums, picking up problems. So when Kenyans were voting, clearly, they voted for this one who had listened to their problems. And the solution was bottom up. Then when they go into parliament, the ones who won from Kenya Kwanza, and then the president in the executive, they're supposed to be pushing government policy that should achieve bottom-up economic models. So clearly, where are we having a discussion and we already know the problem, you gave us the solution in your manifesto? Additionally, when you look at the levels of strategic thinking, we have the strategic level, we have the tactical, we have the operational. These elected and appointed politicians, elected in the legislature and appointed in the executive, they are there earning large salaries because it is assumed at that level, strategic level, you're coming up with solutions, you're thinking strategic, you're thinking vision, you're thinking where we are going the next 60. So it is your role there. You're the one supposed to come up with the solutions, and that's why you're paid all that money. So telling us Kenyans to come again and give solutions, then you're eating our money for nothing. Clearly, we have the wrong people who lack solutions to the problem. So I feel that, and I respect Raila Odinga. He's been my MP since I was 10. I've been seeing him around. But I think he needs to sit this one out. He needs to let the younger generation start pushing the agenda of this country. Because at the end of it all, we've survived 62 years. We want to thrive the next 60. And I don't think they're the ones who are going to take us towards thriving.
Why do you think Raila sat down and actually thought that he could be the bridge?
I think he was sent by President William Ruto to try and pacify. That's my thinking. Now he's in broad-based.
Yeah.
So I think he was sent to try and quell things up by saying that. Because see, again, now we've lost the conversation. We are now discussing him and what he said. So the focus on who must go has gone down kidogo.
You've said, like, the bottom up was what motivated, was it the 7 million voters
Yes,
to vote
for him.
And now, when that failed, people went online. and pushed and pushed and pushed. And with that, people went to podcasts, people went everywhere speaking, people went to TikTok, that this is what we want. Why is it so hard for the president to get this feedback from all these sources
I've always
and,
said,
and make it work?
I've always said, when I look at the president, he comes off as with due respect, he comes off as a know-it-all. Because when I see him, he's the one who's always answering government ideas, government answers. Yani he's the one who is always there. I always question why I don't see his CSs doing it. And so one, being a know-it-all, he's maybe feeling like, what are you guys telling me? I have over 35 experience in politics. That makes him, it blinds him from listening to what people are saying. That is, I think it's an issue of ego. He doesn't want to be told anything. And I really wish he took back the feedback positively. They would put their minds into giving solutions. But for him, the fact that he has 35 years experience in politics is enough for him to not listen to people.
Well, when you say that, I've remembered there's a day he actually said he knows more of what is happening in some ministries than
His CSs.
the CSS, yeah.
Exactly. He would have even nominated people who are brighter than him. Yeah. Without being scared of being outshined. Because these people who are brighter than you will give you a rich idea of how to give solutions. But if he knows more, then clearly he knew that he's the brightest there. As a leader, get a team where you have brighter people than you because they give you different perspective.
That's very interesting to hear, and I hope he gets your feedback.
Hopefully.
If you look at where we are and the whole idea of saying we have a constitution, if you are to rate our usage of the constitution vis-a-vis our survival from it, where would you say we are and why?
How we use our constitution, I think we citizens use it more than those in positions of influencing policies. Because it's clear, Article 37, peaceful demonstrations, you are allowed to go and give your petitions to a public office. Why does government never allow people to give their petitions? I've never seen, every time people are going for mandamano, they have a petition, but they never get to the relevant office. Because those in government are not using the constitution. They should allow those people who have their petitions to take them to the relevant offices. But again, they might argue, people are saying they're coming to State House to give us petitions. So I think we, the citizen, use the constitution more. And then the ones in government want to survive outside the constitution. Because probably, remember the president in the history of this constitution, he was never supporting it. So I think we have a stepmother with this child called Constitution. So the stepmother is not really attached to the Constitution, and that is our problem.
Do you think now that Raila said we need to have the conclave, Ruto on the other side said it's time now. I am the boss. I am the one seated here. I am going to rule this country. That's just earlier this week. Do you think those two are going to survive this marriage?
I don't think so. And because they are used to giving Raila money, can they top up? I think now Raila is making noise because he needs a top up. Maybe he needs more experts of his absorbed into government. The president should know what he's doing, what he will do to quiet Raila as he's been quiet. But when the president tells us it's now I'm in charge, then let him be in charge, and we feel it in the economy. Can he just work? Can he implement his bottom up without other side shoes, without us seeing him on TV all the time? And he's always saying, oh, you people are complaining. The day he will work, the day Kenyans will feel the cost of power has gone down, people will feel money circulating, the children, they call exam what? Exam.
The money that pays for exam
is there. Teachers are not complaining about capitation. The moment he just gets the job done, he'll realize people are not complaining in vain. So the best thing he can do so that he can show us he's in charge, just do your job.
I want to go to a very interesting conversation about women leadership.
Yes.
I know we're always saying let's not talk about women and then politics, but talk as leadership as one. But the truth is, we have women leadership in Kenya. When we did affirmative action to have women there, there was a dream that was there, right? Do you think we've achieved that dream?
I don't think so, because remember, people say, oh, if it's about nominations, girlfriends, children are the ones who are nominated. So again, it goes back to when you're nominating your girlfriend or your daughter, are they motivated to make change or make life easier for Kenyans? Probably it's not their calling. But because Justina is there, I nominate my daughter. Maybe her calling was being a doctor. But just because I'm there for her, she comes into this space where it's not her calling. So there'll be no impact. That's number one. So from that perspective, Kenyans start questioning, what is the role of these women? Others see the women as women reps. Women reps, most things they do is give pads. So the men are left wondering, where do we come in this pad distribution thing you're doing? The men feel left out. So it becomes women rep ni wawa mama. But when you look at Article 100, they say it's for promotion of women, people with disability, youth. Their voice is brought up in National Assembly. What is really ailing this category of special interest groups, women, youth, people with disability? As it is now, I feel it's just an economic question. How are these women reps sponsoring a bill that will allow that these special interest groups are financially independent? What became of that women were supplying in government? Some women, their money has been held up there, their youth, pending bills is affecting them. What are they doing to ensure that these special interest groups are able to do business and continue running or building the country? So I feel it's beyond issuing those pads. It goes back to legislations. How are you making these people economically independent through your policy and legislative proposals? They are failed. Others are saying on TikTok, people say they are as dancing. So they say this one is a socialite. The other one is told turn around by someone who mama ko
By the
sawa.
way, when you see such, because I saw it with, was it 3 women? Women reps, I think. And the conversation has nothing to do with what they can deliver, what they've done. It's just below the neck.
Yes.
When you see such things, and then you see we are heading to an election, and of course there are many women who want to join politics. What message are we sending?
I think whatever we do in politics, or rather what happens to us as women in politics, is the reason why many husbands don't want their wives to go into politics. And I feel like we women in politics should borrow a leaf from women in corporate Kenya. Most women, you see, they work away from home, they're overseas, they're traveling, but their homes are stable. So I think it comes back to transparency, it comes back to integrity and accountability. Because many husbands, if you ask them, they are like, hey, my wife, if she goes into politics, she'll be doing those things they do, matters below the neck. So it's not, see, you're not there because you have the intellectual capacity, Sarah. You're there because, yes, when in supu and all those things they say. So how can we present ourselves that we have value? Our value should come from an intellectual argument beyond these people saying that, oh, you're beautiful. No, I am here because I'm proposing economic democracy. I'm here because I'm proposing ordering the disorder. Can we stick to that argument as women so that even when a man is trying to tell you those things that are not adding value, you can look him in the eye and tell him that is not adding value to the development agenda of the country? But if we sadly, someone says that and you giggle, they think they're doing a good thing. Would a man turn when you say mzee ageuke ako sawa? No, they wouldn't. You wouldn't even have the guts to do that. So I think we also need to, as women, to put that blockade that yes, we can discuss agendas that are going to develop the country, but anything below the neck is out of bounds.
But some of the women actually made very weird conversations after that. So it has nothing to do with even the man telling you to turn. It's what comes after that from you. And I think our women reps and whatever's, you need to do better. You must do better.
So what, again, goes back to motivation. Why are you there? One, maybe you're there because your husband has money and he feels, oh, my wife Sarah is bored at home. What do you want to do, Sarah? You tell him, I want to be women rep. So are you motivated? Do you feel the calling? No, you're there because your husband has the money to get you there. He did a very big campaign for you. You are in people's faces. People can remember Sarah when they're voting. You see now, so the money got you there. But really, are you there to change the country? No, Sarah. That's the problem. What is the motivation for you to get into politics? I think it doesn't go wrong. It's always starts wrong.
when you look at the women leaders we have today, do you have some that you can name that you can say have done something? Okay, I can start for you.
Yes.
Crystal Asige has done an amazing job
Yes.
in Senate. Yes.
Okay. Though I don't follow her that, but yeah, I hear people saying, yeah, she's brilliant. She has, considering she was from the entertainment world. Yes, and she's proving herself there. Well, let me say that I'm not okay. People might say I don't support women, but for me, I look out for the need. What is the need of us being there? Someone was asking me, is there a woman who motivated you to join politics? And I said, not really. For me, the need to influence policies and legislations that make life easier for Kenyans. When I say that, I remember around 2017 when I ran for MP Mavoko. The current governor of Nairobi had sponsored a bill, the National Employment Authority. No, it's an act. But when you read it through, it only focuses on the building. And that's why you see many counties built a National Employment Authority. But I always used to question. So when you build this building, where are the jobs coming from? They always fail to connect the economy and their policies. Jobs are not going to come into that building. Jobs are not coming at it being digital. There should be a need for these skills. The need comes from companies. The need comes from opportunities that there is opportunity to be a musician, to be a sports person, to be whatever. So they need to focus on these opportunities so that there is the demand for these skills. So that is the need for us to connect the problem and the solution. I saw the gap there. Again, the other time is Uhuru's administration had come in with access to government procurement opportunities. On paper, they were saying women and youth can
apply
and supply to government. And then we would feel that, okay, when you don't have capital, so you go to a bank, you're given an overdraft or an LPO financing. The gap was banks stopped giving LPO financing because government was not paying. So they never followed through that there were gaps, and the gaps are emanating from the fact that government is not paying. So I felt there was always a disconnect. Yes, people are making proposals, but there is no end game to empowering the youth. And that is the need why I joined politics. I felt we need to have this conversation, that people need to understand there's a problem and we need a solution that is equals money. Yes.
A lot. I think money answers a lot of our problems.
Yes.
2022,
Yes.
you were running mates.
Yes.
2027 is coming. Are you
Yes.
still going to be on the political space actively?
God willing, yes. I'm praying for long life and health. But people asking me, what do I hope to do? I'm telling them, I'm a small fish, so I'm swimming low, moving in silence. Because when I talk so much, these big sharks will come and grab me and eat me. So it's still early, though I can assure Kenyans, God willing, I'll be there. You will see me. And I hope you're going to be receptive to the policy proposals I'll be giving. And I want you to look at it. Don't look at Justina, the woman. Look at what I stand for. As it is now, my people asking me, what is your ideology? My ideology is a single issue ideology, which is economic democracy. I do not want to put myself into social democracy, freedom. I feel when you're analyzing our civilization, Sarah, we have political freedom, we have social freedom, somewhat we do. So where we are lagging behind,
We're really
is
fighting
economic.
for it fully.
Yes,
Yeah.
economically, that pillar, we have not yet exhausted it. And so my ideology now is economic democracy. So I really hope Kenyans will be receptive, they'll be open-minded, and please don't tell me to join other people. I feel other people are the opposition, they're not an alternative because they're not giving us solutions.
So are you a member of any political party?
As of now, no, I'm still partyless, but soon.
Why?
I'm still scouting.
You're scouting?
Yes.
So do you ever want to lead this country as a president?
Yes, Sarah, I would. If Kenyans
Why?
If Kenyans give me the opportunity, I told Kenyans that the issue is we need economic democracy. I feel, one, we don't focus on our factors of production. That is why fuel, when you see fuel coming into Kenya, of course, government cannot control OPEC prices.
Yeah.
But they have control of all the 37% taxes we pay. So they are not ordering the disorders in our factors of production, number one. Number two, I feel devolution being expensive, we have to be creative on how we are funding devolution, as I mentioned earlier. Article 43 in terms of healthcare, I want Kenyans to say, these days when you go to see a gyna, consultation is 3,000. I want us to have so many gynas, issue of demand and supply, inabidi tu wangushe bei, because if you're expensive, me, I'll go to the other place. And it's not an issue of at expensive. I want Kenyans to see things from, this is basic, this is a luxury good. If you want to go to an expensive hospital, fine, you can afford. But for the basic, let it make sense for Kenyans. That is the idea I have, that one day Kenyans will say, I don't have to beg, I don't have to bribe, I don't have to call, I don't have to know anybody to access a service in this Kenya, because services are, everything is working and the systems are working.
So as President Justina, how would you deal with, because I believe our biggest problem is corruption. And number two, the debts that we are paying at, maybe out of 100 shillings, we make 70 goes to debt. How would you sort those two problems?
Number one issue of corruption, we've always focused on the end bit. I'm going to kill these people, I'm going to take their properties. I think it should go back to before corruption. Corruption stems from lack of opportunities. So they get this cutthroat competition that I have to bribe Sarah to get this service. I have to steal when I'm sitting in this position. I have to amass wealth. If there were opportunities and if it was easier to make wealth in Kenya, I doubt people will have the idea of I have to steal to make money. I also want Kenyans to start thinking investment in terms of you have an industry. It's ridiculous that the spending limits to run for president is 4 billion. I wish that 4 billion was put into a factor of production. It was put into agriculture. It was put into training, resource development. But it's funny that it goes into campaigns. So I want Kenyans to move away from the fact that you can only benefit when you have connections, and Kenyans to see you can benefit because the fundamentals of economy are working. The economic fundamentals, demand and supply is working. You can see a gap here. Go into starting that business without being threatened by sijui cabs, who. You can do your business without being threatened. You can thrive. Kanjo doesn't need to come threaten you to buy licenses. You can pay for that license without being coerced. So that is what I think. Give opportunities to people so that people don't see the need to always be corrupt. They can do things the right way. The other question you asked me is matters debt. Remember, we don't do, where we are not even paying debt. Debt is paid through refinancing. What you're paying is interest, and that is why it becomes the 70%. How I wish that the proposal I would make, because the Auditor General is always complaining she cannot find this money. And then her reports go to National Assembly to be discussed by the committees. And then everything gets lost in there. I'd want to make a policy proposal that the Auditor General, her report doesn't go to Parliament. Or if it goes, then we Kenyans have a channel to question, where did this report get to? Another thing is increasing the number or the staff and the budget for Auditor General. She's always saying that she needs more money. But finally, if our Auditor General got prosecutory powers to prosecute people who are involved in economic crimes and following up where money went, maybe it would be easier. But again, we need an individual who has integrity, because if they are bribed behind there, then it loses the whole purpose of them giving us reports. So I think when Kenyans are voting, so that the work of the Auditor General comes to a logical conclusion in terms of when it's discussed, because the office usually gives recommendation, Kenyans should be allowed to question. So hii report ilifika wapi, and what are you doing about it? When Kenyans ask that, people will start getting worried about, I was bribed by Justina, my report itupiliwe mbali. At least Kenyans will have a say. But I feel all that money that is being told, it cannot be traced to the economy. The ones who are involved should be questioned. They should be questioned and should give answers. Again, the debt register, we are always told we are refinancing, we are interest on debt. Kenyans should see the whole debt register. Let us see where we are, what we've repaid, what we've refinanced, so that by the time we are being told 7 shillings is going to debt repayment or refinancing, we know where we are. So all it goes back to transparency, Sarah. We need to know where we are, what you're paying for, and what you're going to get from those people who took money.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you expect, seeing all the anger and happiness that is on the streets, if there is, what do you expect of the 2027 parliament?
I expect a younger generation, and not just the age. I expect people who have ideology, people who have solutions. And I also don't expect people to vote for at the two major political parties. I want Kenyans to mix and match different ideologies so that even when we're having a richness of conversations, people are saying, this makes sense, by the way, this ideology makes sense. Let us mix and match, because this issue of having all the two larger parties, I don't think it's serving us anymore. And what it's interesting, sometimes I watch movies and I don't know if people have watched Bogen, when they're saying they are doing the broad-based. In my mind, I was expecting even a broad-based should look like Bogen's broad-based. Because at that time, you see, one, if your party is Green Party, you're advocating for green policies. If your party is centrist in terms of finance, you're discussing, when you're there because of what you stand for. So even when they told us they're bringing in experts for broad-based, I was expecting then the ones who came should be pushing the 6,000 agenda, because that is what they were standing for. So it should go beyond these large parties. Let's have a mix and match so that even we enrich the conversation and Kenyans start seeing things from a different perspective.
Great. When you look across Africa today, who would you say is your best president and why?
Okay, I don't know whether how they are reporting about him is the truth, because people are saying it's AI generated. The Burkina Faso guy, Ibrahim, that one.
Traore.
Yes, he's disruptive in terms of what he's doing, which is what we need. We need a disruption in how we think. He's doing a good job, if it's not AI generated. But when you look at even his people, okay, when the people from Burkina Faso are commenting, he's another Thomas Sankara. So I feel he's doing a good job. And I'm not happy with those ones who went to see Trump last week. How can you just sit there and Trump is talking to you as if you're not anyone? In fact, I asked, did you have to go? Was it a must for these presidents to go there and endure the humiliation of being told, hey, you speak good English? When they thought Africa is...
It's even worse, the president being asked.
Imagine.
His country is made up of slaves from America.
And then Trump can... So it shows that they do not go even into the effort of researching about us. For them, it's you're there for the optics. You're told to just let's do photos. So African presidents should also ask themselves, what is the value for my people when I go there? If you're going there to be embarrassed and treated as, like trash, then I don't see the purpose of going. In fact, it's even easier to say we don't have money to travel, and you continue doing your work instead of being treated as if you're a nobody there.
Have you seen the value of our Kenyan leaders traveling across?
No, I haven't seen, and I think, unfortunately, maybe it's this ushamba mentality. For them, it's like, hey, I've never gone to USA, so you're traveling. But what is the added value? All that money you're spending, what have you brought for us? Angalata bring for us an idea that you'll implement. And we say, when you went here, we got this idea, and that's why we're implementing. We've not seen any implementation, meaning they just go there to satisfy their childhood dream that I traveled.
When you mention Traore, it's very interesting. Actually, I think 98% of everyone who have asked the question goes for Traore. It makes me question. You understand he came into power through a revolution. Do you think Kenya is ready for that? Because everyone looks at him like, this guy changing. Are we ready for that as a country?
I feel where he's failed is that he'd promised a transitional government, I think, after 6 months, which he hasn't done. So maybe he has been bitten by that bug that makes you feel like power is sweet.
No, but they had a committee that agreed to extend to 3 years. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
so I wouldn't base it on him because it's...
They agreed.
Yeah,
maybe they said they give him time, which is a good thing. But are we ready for that? No. Where we are in East Africa, or rather in Africa, Kenyans, we are more moderate. Our approach to doing things is opposed to how West Africa does, as we are moderate. So I think let's just continue with what we adapted. We are moderate. Let's do the democratic part of it instead of expecting a revolution. Because even when I look at, if we are to do that, then who would lead? Nobody is yet to come out and show us that.
But the army never shows.
Really?
No, nobody ever shows. Not like Traore was showing his skills. It just happened.
It does happen.
You know why I'm asking? Because I feel like every time everyone is always quoting Traore.
Yeah.
So this is the fruits
The
of what.
fruits he has
But the
done.
process they've gone through.
We are not ready for the process. We are ready for the fruits, and the fruits will come. Our angle should be the fruits should come by how we vote. Let's not vote for my tribe, my who. Let's vote for what is this person saying. The day we shall focus on what is this person saying. What do they stand for? What is their ideology? What is their proposal? I'm telling you, it's going to make sense. Actually, 2022 was happy because Kenyans, even for me, never encountered the question of are you Kiku? What is your tribe? People are just focusing on the Bangi, which is a good thing because it was divorcing my tribe from what I was saying. So if we focus on what these people are saying, how they are presenting the ideas, I think it will make more sense, and Kenyans will stop seeing the tribe issue or the gender issue too. This one has a plan that they can implement.
Okay.
Yes.
You've quoted how the 5 presidents went to be embarrassed by U.S. presidents. And of course, we all know why Traore won't be invited in such meetings. So if you became the leader of this country, would you be willing to take the steps that Traore has taken because he just decided to cut off the Westerners?
Kenyans should realize one thing, Sarah. The reason even people say, our president is a puppet or not, remember there's something called campaign financing. Sometimes on the ground, people want you to have a flamboyant campaign. People want handouts. People want what. What do? You end up fundraising. And then you're fundraising for people who have interest that, fine, we're giving you money, the black money. We're giving you money, but when you're in power, we want this and this from you. So remember, Traore didn't campaign, didn't have the opportunity to ask for money, to do it. So he can cut off. But maybe in democratic societies, where now people fundraise for campaign money to have an expensive campaign, those who finance end up expecting you to give back. And then the giving back end up seen as a puppet. So if I get there, without Kenyans having asked me for handouts, Sarah.
How will you finance your campaign, actually?
To be very honest, I do not have money, and that's one thing I tell people. And the beauty of it, I got into politics at 30. I didn't have money, so I've never been ashamed telling Kenyans I don't have money. What I tell Kenyans, if you want change, then you must invest in the process, clearly. But maybe the fundraising would be getting little money from ordinary Kenyans. Because if someone gives me 10 shillings or 100 shillings, I doubt they'll have the voice to say, no, we gave you 10 billion, so do this for us, let our business thrive. So I think we need to shun big money spend in politics and have a cap to what people are fundraising towards politics, so that someone will not feel that I carried this burden with my company, so you have to give us tenders. But how am I going to fundraise? Me, if Kenyans give me money, they do. If they don't, Sarah, you'll be seeing me on your podcast all the time because it is easier. Social media, ni nusu ya kuonana. So you take the easiest way out.
Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting. And actually, it's a thing. In addition to that, I would want, you've said that people won't question you because you didn't put in a lot of the money. But one of the people who has been questioned a lot has been Morara Kebaso because he fundraised online. And now every day we are like, we bought that car with a PA system. Where is our car?
Yeah,
so we'll still question you because accountability, whether I give you 10 shillings or a billion, won't go away.
I think where he's being questioned is that people feel like he betrayed them. I do not know why. I cannot explain why people feel that way. But I see people telling, oh, you're a mole, you're a project, you're a blah, blah, blah. Others are questioning why is it that when former deputy president left is when he stopped doing his vampire diaries. Maybe it was that person who was giving him info. So the thing is, when people are fundraising, people are genuine. I remember even people are saying, oh, he's going to steal from you. And even big time people on social media were saying, no, me, I've sent my money because I believe in the cause. So one thing he should do is question where he lost the plot and where he lost the people. But people are genuine. Now, people are questioning because of the direction he's taken. I think so.
Back to Traore, you've said about the funding, so perhaps that's why the US and other Westerners make you a puppet oftentimes. For him, because you can't survive by yourself, he's decided to head towards China and Russia as the new friends. Is that a direction you would take if you were to, like, in a position of power like that? Is it also something you feel is good?
Sarah, I think that our foreign policy, or what our drive, is us being non-aligned. We're going to work with like-minded countries, people who be adding value to each other. Sarah, if our core competency is human resource, and then we look at that is our competitive edge. So the ones we are partnering with then should be consuming from our human resource, and then we are consuming from their money. And if their core competency is production or whatever it is, it's about Kenyan interest. The way America says American first. I think every conversation we have should never be lopsided towards others are benefiting and we are not. As of today, you ask a Kenyan, we are told, AGOA was signed, sijui what. An ordinary Kenyan on the street, you ask them about AGOA, they don't know, they don't relate to it. So it should be something that when you come into strategic partnership with these countries, these are like-minded countries, what is Kenya's interest and how are they benefiting? So I think the conversation will always begin. I won't say I'll take this one. So no, it's about you. This is your core competency. How are we benefiting? When we do it that way, there will be no need for other countries to feel they're Kenya's favorite. No, it will be about how are we benefiting as a country, as opposed to us being seen like other people are benefiting and us we are not. So I think we should adapt that Kenya first, the interest should be Kenya first, just as America says.
You know how I look at it? Maybe 62 years post-independence, yes. Or is it 63 now? Yeah. You don't feel like that non-aligned policy is way beyond what we should? We should actually be aligned. In the sense that America first. America is aligned. Yeah. It's never about non-alignment. They don't care. They'll come and tell you, we support this, we support this. And they do business. Maybe this thing of us saying non-alignment now, we want to look good to the US, we want to look good to the UK, we want to look good to China. Isn't it a better deal for us to say we are pro-China, but we do business with anyone else who has our interests?
I feel when we align, Sarah, we lose ourselves in pleasing the ones we are aligned with. It even gives us, being non-aligned gives us the opportunity to look at what is our competency, to look at where we thrive, to look at our resources, so that we can be able to...
But how would alignment change that?
It will change by, if we are having a discussion, if we are aligning to China and they're giving us loans, remember their strategies, roads and bridges, right? Yeah. So that there's something belt, they call it. When we tell them that, okay, fine, let's have this conversation, they end up, when we give them contracts, they end up bringing their own slaves to work here. Remember, we have our own workforce. Yeah, look at even Talanta, that place they're building.
Isn't that based on us?
But they're the ones who are benefiting.
No, in the sense that we signed the contract. If you're signing a contract and you're not happy, you just say this clause.
And why can't we say we are not happy? Because already they're coming in with their own money. They're coming in with their technology. They're coming, so they have an upper hand in this discussion, Sarah. And that's why we cannot have even the conversation to say, no, we also have our own prisoners here. They can be they can be labor, right? We are scared of saying that, because when we look at their economy, where they are, we feel intimidated. And that's why I feel we need to also work on our own internal strength, so that when even you're sitting down and you're signing bilateral agreements, you have a voice to say, no, we also have our own prisoners. They can work in this project. But at the end of it all...
At this level, I don't even think we need the prisoners. We have enough young people.
Imagine, to do it. But then they end up bringing their own prisoners to work for us here. And these prisoners, remember, they're not paid a salary. So that money goes back to their governments. And again, remember, we are not... This money we pay as loan, it is them who come with the money, the money to do the project, the human resource, the materials, you see. So they are benefiting more. As we are going to be left with the infrastructure, yes, we're going to pay for it. But when we look at, did Kenyans benefit when we were building this Talanta Sport Complex? They didn't. Because even when you look at the personnel employed, the Kenyans are few as opposed to the ones who are there. So when you have your own internal strengths, you can be able to have a conversation when you're signing the contract and say, this is not acceptable, or it's not going to add value to my people. But as it is, it's difficult because we have so many weaknesses. We've not identified our strengths. We've not identified our core competency or our competitive edge. So people take advantage of us.
Do you think Kenya has a common goal? Like if you step out and ask people, what is our goal? What is our national desire? What is our national aspiration?
We don't have a shared vision.
Then does that also affect how we run a country? Because like now for Trump, every American at the moment knows make America great again.
Yes.
Even as we're in Africa
We
talking
know.
about MAGA.
Yes.
When you ask about Kenya, what conversation are we talking about?
Kenyans are saying that this tribe is entitled, this tribe has been in power. Others are saying we want economic democracy. Others are saying other things, that they want Baba to be president. So we do not have a shared vision. But the good thing is that, Sarah, is that we having this economic conversation is kind of now straightening the vision towards one thing. Kenyans are like, wait a minute. It doesn't matter what tribe is in power. What matters is how are they making proposals to make life easier for Kenyans. So it's a good thing that we are all speaking different tongues, but when we have the conversations, it's taking us towards a shared vision, which we lack. Unfortunately, that's why you see people vote overwhelmingly for this tribe, without understanding what was this person saying. But even the adversity we are facing is bringing us together into having a shared vision. Yes.
So we might get it along the way.
We will.
All right.
Yes.
Maybe as we conclude, what do you look at as what is your ideal Kenya?
When I look at Kenya, I'll say what the gardener says. The gardener says they do not force flowers to grow. They remove that which prevents them from growing. Anything that prevents Kenyans from thriving should be removed. And that's why I was saying we need to order the disorder in our factors of production, order the disorder in financing Article 43, order the disorder in financing devolution, because that disorder makes Kenyans not to thrive. So like the gardener says, remove that that prevents Kenyans to grow. We don't need to force Kenyans. When those limitations are removed, Kenyans will thrive. So I want a Kenya that every individual is feeling they're participating gainfully in building the nation.
Great. I love that. Finishing, and I wish you the very best in your ambitions.
Thank you.
When you're ready to be president, we shall be happy to have you again so that we understand the vision you have for the country.
Thank you.
Totally appreciate you coming through and sharing with us. We hope to see you soon. For you who's been watching, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next episodes.